Some time ago, I saw a video about sports arbitrage betting.
2 million views?
I thought to myself, wow, this is a super interesting concept. I have a computer science degree. Why don't I try to combine the two? And so, here we are today. If you don't know what arbitrage betting is, it's a way to make risk-free, with little asterisks, profit by betting on all outcomes of a match. Let me give you a short explanation.
Suppose we have a 2-player, 2-outcome game. Team 1 is playing Team 2, and there are 2 outcomes, win or lose. This is what it might look like on a sports betting site. Bet $100 on either of these teams, and this is the expected payout. The probability of a team winning is given by 1 divided by the odds. So in the above case, 1 over 1.22 means that our favourite, the Cavs, have a supposed 82% chance of winning, whilst the Pistons have a 24% chance of winning. Unlike a coin toss, which we can pretty confidently assign a 1.5 odds to each outcome, determining the odds for real sports matches with unknown factors and variables is much more difficult. Looking at our previous example, the total probability for our match on Ladbrokes sums up to 106%, more than 100. This means that you're guaranteed to lose money if you bet on both sides. 6% to be specific. But when the odds provided by the bookmakers differ enough to favour us, that is, when they sum up to less than 1, an arbitrage opportunity arises. In this example, we've guaranteed ourselves 3% profit by betting on both sides. Here we divvy up the bet according to our odds, so regardless of the outcome, we get the same payout. Now it might not seem like much, but over numerous bets, it does add up.
Now you might be thinking, this sounds too good to be true. How do arbitrage opportunities even arise? That's a good question. And well, there are a combination of reasons. The main one being that bookmakers just aren't perfect. Determining odds is difficult, people make mistakes, and bookies want to stay competitive with other bookies. With that being said, there are usually more frequent and larger arbitrage opportunities in smaller and more obscure tournaments/sports because it's harder to predict who might win. Plus, there are less people betting to sort of balance the scale and iron out any inaccuracies. Well, the presence of arbitrage bettors sort of brings the odds across the bookmakers to some equilibrium. Because, well, if there was a large discrepancy, then people would jump in to close that gap and make profit. Well, I guess the other way around, like make profit and close that gap as a byproduct. Okay, so now that we know what arbitrage betting is, let's get on to what I built. It's quite simple. In fact, it's not really a bot since I still have to manually bet, but it does make life easier and for a better YouTube title. So, what do I need first? Well, to find an arbitrage opportunity, you need to have the best odds.
There are no shortage of bookies, but these were the main ones I looked at. And really, it was only the ones highlighted in green which I found had good odds.
So let's go ahead and collect all the odds from the different bookmakers. Now, to do this manually would be an absolute nightmare. I'd have to continually switch between tabs, wait for the odds to load, and then manually record and figure out what the best bookies are. So the first step is to obviously just automate and scrape the data.
I can't directly scrape the site since it's not static and actually takes time to load. Instead, I used Selenium, which is a tool that automates web browsers. I got Selenium to mock open this site, wait a few seconds for the content to load, and then look through rows and elements to get the relevant data. I used a headless version, which does the exact same thing without the GUI or graphical user interface, so it's a bit more lightweight when running continuously. After scraping and finding the best odds, I simply outputted it with Python tabulate. Great. Done, right? Well, not really. It's not that helpful to just have it shown there because I won't always be watching. Instead, why don't I notify myself when an ARB opportunity does show up? I wrote up a quick email script which sent an email whenever an ARB opportunity appeared. Awesome. Over here you can see a massive 14% arbitrage opportunity. Now that's quite rare, and more often than not you'll find that the ARB ops are more or less between 1 to 3%. I also wanted to run this 24/7, but didn't want to keep my laptop on permanently. Thank you cloud computing. I set up an AWS EC2 instance to run the script 24/7. If you don't know what that is, you're essentially renting or borrowing a server/computer that's always on. Now, we just sit back and let the money flow in.
Jokes, that's far from what happened. In fact, I made a ton of mistakes along the way. Like when early on, when I thought I had a great opportunity, except that it was because the same two teams were playing two matches on different days, and I betted on opposing days. I don't know how I did that, yeah.
A bunch of free money I made was from bonus bets. When you first sign up to bookies, they will often give you an initial promotion where they'll match your first deposit up to $250. If you sign up to a lot of bookies, that could easily mean over $1,000 in bonus bets. If you have good odds and use your bonus bet on the underdog, then you can easily guarantee that 1K in bonus bets turns into at least 600 in cold, hard dollary dues.
Nothing like hard-earned money.
In fact, I was super surprised when Ladbrokes kept contacting me, offering me bonus bet promotions long after I had forgotten about it. And you know, I won't say no to free money.
Something I could have done was to automate the complete betting process. So that's actually betting on the games and depositing money. But I thought that this was a bit risky, especially since the bot would sometimes screw up the odds because of, again, like I said, different days. And the other risk being that the bets could potentially be cancelled. In fact, this happened once when I had great odds. I betted on two different matches, and then on one of the bookies, it actually prevented me from getting those same odds because I think it was a system error because the odds provided were just too good to be true. So I bet on one side already, and then when I placed the bet on the other bookie, it was retracted. So then I have this sort of exposed side on one bookie, and so yeah, that isn't great. The other thing that's difficult is if the odds are extremely skewed. Let's say like 1 to 10. On one of the sides, I'd have to bet like an insane amount to counteract the other odds. And being able to deposit that much money automatically, I thought was a bit too risky and something I didn't want to do. Now, if you're familiar with sports betting, you probably know that there's sports betting software out there already. So why bother? What's the point of all this? And well, you're right. There is sports arbitrage betting software out there that collates odds and tells you what sort of matches to bet on. But it costs money. It's not cheap. It's pretty damn ugly. And well, you can't just add and remove what you want/don't want. Plus, I thought making this would be quite fun, which it was. And oh yeah, arbitrage betting is risk-free with an asterisk because there is risk and you can get screwed over. Like I mentioned before, if your bet is either cancelled by a bookie or retracted, then you're left exposed on the other bookie which you bet on. Usually you can still just bet on the opposing side with odds that aren't great, so you're not losing the entire bet. You just might be down a couple bucks, or depending on how much you bet. So it's not horrible, it just means that you haven't taken advantage of that arb opportunity because it's disappeared. Oops.
By the way, the Arb software is currently local and only with me, but if you're interested and want to use it, do let me know and I'll try and spend some time uploading and deploying it. It's currently only showing 3 2-player sports just because they were the easiest to scrape.
Hope you enjoyed the video. It's not something I usually make, and if you want to see more of this, let me know down below.